Aloha, everyone, and welcome to another Neutral Zone, MauiNeutralZone.com. I'm your host, Jason Schwartz. This is show number, I think, 136 of this series we've been doing since 2018. My, how time flies. Little COVID 2-year thing. We've been doing Zoom. I like Zoom. I can have a guest like my beautiful guest here on screen to my left, but you guys, this is Steve Freid. Many of you already know Steve. Aloha, Steve.
Aloha. And I want to say it's great to be interviewed because I had my Life on Maui show for 12 years. And in that time, I only switched roles once. So,
really?
Joe Marshall's ex-girlfriend interviewed me many, many years ago. So,
well, it's interesting. I wanted the audience to know my guest, Steve Freid, has a show, had a show. I think of it as has. All you got to do is do another one and you're doing it. Life on Maui. And he has had some real fun guests. As I looked through your lists of things, I said, oh, there's all our great people around, and we'll talk about that. And so you have been sort of another show. I think of us all as sort of a team of Maui people doing productions that the world needs to see.
Yes.
Well, you're invited to actually link up the Maui Arts and Music Association website so you can showcase to the world and do more new shows. In fact, I'd like you to do an interview or two of me. And so you talk about switching roles, whatever we'll call it.
I'll do it on Zoom. I'll do the same thing on Zoom.
Exactly. And then you realize that's exactly what's going on now in our world. And remember when all of us said, oh, we need a camera, a studio. And now we sit at home and we hit a button, we hit record, and up they come.
That's amazing. So how do you make the file size small enough to post on Facebook?
I am a wizard. That's how I do it. No, what I do is I record it in Zoom. Zoom creates, excuse guys, and there's a techno term, MP4 file, and then I put it into Final Cut. I put credits front and back, my credits, and then titles. And then I export it as an MP4 and I load it up to YouTube. And then I link it from YouTube to my 2 pages, MauiNeutralZone.com. And that then goes into MauiArtsAndMusic.com, MauiArtsAndMusic.org under the video section. That's where I'm going to be inviting you because that's what I'm thinking is all of us need to be shown. And that MP4 file goes up to YouTube. YouTube holds big things. And then I just put the link into Facebook and up it comes with everything I put on YouTube.
Oh, I see. So
and by doing it that way, quote, Facebook can't claim ownership because when you put it directly up to Facebook, they say, oh, those images, we own them. You put them up, we own them. We control. Unless they have a prior thing, they all have this thing about copyright and who's going to sue who. Remember who was that? The Sue Me, Sue You Blues. That was the Beatles. Am I that old to remember that? Sue Me, Sue You Blues.
Yes, of course. We're that old. I mean, I was 16 when the Beatles came on Ed Sullivan, because I was born in 1953. So I was 16 years old when the Beatles came on Ed Sullivan, and I watched it. I watched it live.
And you wouldn't be surprised. I was almost 16, but I was 14, born in 1951. In fact, I have a guy that I interviewed who is a WMCA radio reporter in New York who was at the foot of the stairs when the Beatles got down there the day they went to Shea Stadium.
Whoa.
He was He was also in the front row when Malcolm X was assassinated and ran to Maui and hid for 50 years. Malcolm, I don't know if you ever know, guy worked. Anyway, we have a Maui, you know it. We have amazing people here, don't we?
We have amazing people here. I mean, Clint Eastwood lives here. Willie Nelson lives here. Woody Harrelson lives here. Now Paul Simon lives here.
Mick Fleetwood lives here.
Mick
Steven
Fleetwood.
Tyler, Bob Rock, Pat
Steve-
Benatar had a, but we also have
Yes.
Steve Freid. And we,
Yeah.
you know, what I've discovered, and you know, is in the woodwork here, they're amazing people. And that's what I do on my show. I like to interview people that are interesting. You've seen me do a series up close and personal forever, interviewing politicians or people that want to get involved. And I decided to do a show about values and put politics aside. I was going to do a political show, but I thought, let me just interview things that I think and people that are interesting and valuable, because that's our Maui culture. That's what makes Maui strong, is all these people. And I've interviewed a guy that runs Boys to Men and a doctor who's into nonviolent communication and and then you have guests. And I've been interested. You had Marianne Williamson on, right? And you had
I had Marianne Williamson, you know, prior presidential candidate. Yeah.
I interviewed 3 Green Party candidates, 3 or 4 of them. And, you know, I mix it up and have fun, but I know that the whole goal is to elevate the conversation and make it a better world. And I'm not an attacking guy. You too. You're a gentleman. You know?
No, I am.
And I always like to remind people, don't mistake my gentleness for weakness. That could be a mistake.
Yeah.
But I don't carry a sword, and not like in the Clint Eastwood, you know what, Harrison Ford. Remember the Raiders of the Lost Ark guys, and he just takes out his gun and shoots them. But no, I like talking to people because I really find, I'm sure you do also, that when you sit and relax with people, you like them, and they will suddenly, what problems could we have when we both want to solve it? When we have empathy for the other people and why they're bringing their ideas to the table. Yeah. We want to solve the problems, you know?
We do. Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're not doing your show, I hope that you will. I hope that you will reawaken.
Well, I'll make a point to interview you, and maybe that will be a thing for me. Maybe I'll interview people on Zoom.
Well, you know, when I started doing it on Zoom, people said, oh, this is awkward. And now, you're on screen with me, and we have this ability to change the thing. You can go up and go here and there, show other things on screen. It's much easier, right? Much easier.
Well, maybe this Zoom session will inspire me to do other shows.
I mean, can you imagine?
I haven't thought of that before, and maybe I'll talk to you later about how to record and blah blah blah. But yeah, this is inspiring to me.
Good, and you know what's inspiring to me? That you were willing to come on my show. You know, some people think, uh-oh, Jason, he's going to go wind up and punch because, you know, they see that I actually, you know, have some ideas going on. So if they come on, they're worried if they have any loose things. But you came on, you didn't really know. Like I could ask you about your life and you'd say, oh, that's interesting. How did you come to Maui? What were you doing before you were a great television personality?
Well, thank you. Well, I moved to Maui 18 years ago. My prior place that I grew up was in Philadelphia.
Oh, like Ariel.
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up in Philadelphia, the suburbs of Philadelphia. I grew up in the beginning, the first up until second grade, we lived in West Philly, but then we moved out to the suburbs to a beautiful modern house. I mean, oh my God, it was just beautiful and modern. And my father is an artist, and my mom made jewelry, and they both had studios in the basement. And
Wow.
That's
Ariel lived in Philly, Central Philly, when she was growing up, and she was like Miss 950 Club. Remember all the things going on with American Bandstand?
yeah, of course.
Ariel was Miss Everything there in Philadelphia. And then, it's so funny. Philadelphia has its own original music sound. It's really a unique sound. When I think of the OJs and that smooth, really beautiful harmony.
The Soul Survivors came from Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah?
Soul Survivors, yeah.
And Steve Freid. My uncle and aunt lived in Huntingdon Valley. So I guess that was sort of almost
a suburb.
Yeah, a suburb. And Philadelphia was always interesting because you drive this way and you go to Pennsylvania Dutch country. And
yes.
I had a friend out in Pittsburgh,
yes.
Father owned the steel company. It's interesting how all these, they named a library and the hospital after his dad. His father, you remember AMP that made semiconductors for the war?
Of course.
That was his father. And so he grew up as a trust child. And he used to think, because I had a mother that was, if something was like, things aren't going perfect, she'd throw money at me. So he thought I was a trust child. And Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and New York, we have a different kind of a work ethic than out here. I mean.
Well, there's no question. There's no question about that. Except my girlfriend, Rade.
Oh, yeah?
She has an immigrant mentality, and she works hard.
Well, and loves it. Like some might say, Jason, what do you do for a living? Well, I do radio and TV shows. Sounds big, but you can see this is a radio and TV show we're doing now. So, but for all these years, we gotta love it. And I haven't gotten paid. So you really gotta love it. If I was in Hollywood, people would be, but out here in Maui, it's been just a love story, And I remember when I was doing mortgages, I guess you weren't really here when I did. People don't remember way back when I was
I moved here 18 years ago. So were you doing mortgages before that?
Yeah, I was in real estate after also a little bit, but mortgages where I was helping local people. Really wasn't into getting people from the mainland to come by here and rent to us at high prices that are now.
Right.
So that was my thing. And I did just enough to keep me okay. And I was, doing shows and talking out. In 1994, I ran for actually council, but mayor, and I switched to council race. People don't know I was the Green Party candidate a few times. And when it wasn't fashionable and you said renewable energy and someone did go, there's radicals. We talked about things that they talk about now, but before it was fashionable, Wait, so 2004, I'm trying to remember Maui. Was Maui beautiful in 2004?
Oh, it was absolutely beautiful. And we had sugarcane fields at that time.
Well, I'm laughing because 2004 sugarcane fields, where are they now?
They're no longer existing.
That's right. For the people in the world, we decided burning sugarcane wasn't good, and a pension fund, bought a majority of land there in the Central Valley.
Yeah, but one of the things I loved, including the sugarcane fields, because I've lived in Kihei, so I didn't get hit by the pollution from the burning. So, I just loved all the open land, and it's still that way. There's still a lot of open land on Maui.
And it's designated to stay that way. And Maui Pono is in the middle of an unbelievable amount of transition, but they've got all kinds of things growing. And some would say they're only still monocropping. They only grow. I like to think that they're at their first stages of taking land that was horribly one crop and depleting the soil and having to do something with it. Again, that's for another show, but all that land will stay beautiful, except now you're looking to see rows of oranges and lemons.
Yes, and coffee. And
the question of where that product is going to go, we'll see. But it's incredibly beautiful, and it's incredibly going to stay that way. There are designated areas that are not going to be housed.
That's so wonderful to hear. That's wonderful to hear.
And more coming. I think as we're all getting more educated to the realities of these climate things, areas that have houses are like, wait a minute, are we going to buy a house where we have to like drive our boat up to the back door because the water is now up here? They talk about, like in Kihei, along the water. I always am wondering, why are they building new houses on the shore when they know it already runs across the street and up to this thing, the old money.
Dinero. Yeah, see.
What kind of work did you do before? Were you a TV guy, or because
no. So here's the progression of what I did. I was a hypnotherapist, a video store owner. I owned 2 video stores, one in the city and one in the suburbs. And then I was,
back east
in Philly.
Okay.
And then I was a massage therapist for 10 years. I had an amazing clientele. I mean, I did very well with massage therapy. I worked in three different chiropractors' offices, and I had a private practice where people would come to my house. I also went to other people's house or apartments, and I had a thriving practice. And so in the video store, I opened one in the city on Oxford Circle and one in the suburbs in Narberth. And I love movies, love movies. And to this day, I love movies, and I love watching the award, especially the Academy Awards. And, it's a part of my life. And fortunately, Rade shares that with me. She loves good movies and good series and all of that.
Do you have Amazon Prime?
No, I have Netflix.
I want you to know, thank you very much, Amazon, for the free shipping. I mean, some things you just can't get on Maui. It's nice to have free shipping because it'd be. But the movies, movies.
But all you have to do is spend more than $25 on an order, and you get free shipping.
Depends what company. Yeah, I know.
Amazon.
Amazon. I'm talking about. Yeah, and even Amazon. The reason I get it is the movies and the everything just makes it easy. So I've really gotten into these longer series. You really learn plot development when someone's got a 7-season series and you watch it in a short time and you get the story plot and you see how you start from the end and you work backwards and weave this story out. There are some incredible Man in the High Castle about Hitler and yes. What if the Germans won the war? What would happen if the Germans got the East and the Japanese got the West? And all?
Yes.
Or, they have one on Peacock called Yellowstone. You see a guy like Kevin Costner in it. epic. Not just, it's like seasons long with these characters.
Oh, so that's on Peacock.
Yeah.
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
I'll watch that. I'll watch that.
And but there's amazing stuff on there. I watched this one. Well, I don't even go off on a tangent, but movies. I love movies also. And the things that we thought were science fiction that became science fact in our lifetime.
Yes.
You remember the old beam me up Scotty and talking into the thing in your hand?
Yes.
Does this qualify? I think this qualifies.
It sure does. It sure does. Yeah. And my favorite, I think I would have to say my favorite of movie of the year is The Power of the Dog. It's on Netflix, and it's up for more Academy Awards than any other movie this year.
Right. I saw that it was, so I was going to watch it.
Good. Yeah, watch it. And Benedict Cumberbatch
isn't that
a real bastard. And some people turn off the movie halfway because he plays such a bastard. So just stick it out because it has a good ending. It has a good ending.
When you say such a bastard, I think of Daniel Day-Lewis and the Streets of New York. I think of some of these real
as well as There Will Be Blood. He played a real bastard.
Whoa, yeah.
What a bastard. Oh my God.
The bastards of the movies and the TV, huh?
Yeah.
What is his name? First name is Benedict, right? I've seen him in things. I remember seeing him in thing and thinking, is that what, Dennis Quaid or one of those? Not Dennis Quaid, maybe. I forgot who it was. There was another actor that was maybe a decade or two ago. And I saw that he was like a younger version. He's quite an interesting actor. I've seen him a lot of different roles. Yeah.
Another series that we just absolutely loved is The Spy on Netflix. It's The Spy on Netflix, and Sacha Baron Cohen plays an Israeli spy, and he does an amazing acting job. Amazing.
I saw it. I understand. Isn't it exciting to see these? I mean, it's like when you watch Jack Krasinski, who was on The Office as whatever he was, do these dramatic roles in series. It's really, over the years, I used to like looking at old movies and seeing in the background, oh, there's Yul Brynner and Stephen Boyd and all these lead actors, William Shatner, all the rest of them. TV series like The Rifleman, you go, or Clu Gallagher, and all these old Nick Adams and The Rebel. Maybe new people don't know them, but they know the people that were on these shows that are now the patriarchs and showing up there. Like, we're always amazed when someone says, Frank who? Frank Sinatra? What? Tony?
Oh, I love Frank Sinatra. I mean, I have loved him for many years. I love him.
The young people that don't know some of these music greats, and speaking of music greats, I don't know why when I was looking at your list, I saw our friend Omar, who passed here in the last year.
I know.
Passed away. I see him on your list of people in the arts. And who's David?
Yeah, I
saw David Freid too.
David Freid is my son, my younger son. And he's also in he makes movies. Mostly short movies.
That one. LifeOnMaui.com. You see, people are going to now go there, and when we get you hooked to our Maui Arts and Music website, the whole world will find it easier. I believe that how many people are like Steve Freid? Nobody. We should share the greats of our island, past and present. And many of them, the digital age and all that, a lot of people proprietary, but in the lifetimes that we've had here, we are the shoulders that the kids are going to stand on. So I
Yeah.
kind of feel the importance of what you do and what I do to continue to deliver a message as a role model, and show role models to our young people who someone said we're not now we can't concentrate on 12 seconds. We're down to 8. After 8 seconds, our attention's lost.
Another movie I really want to recommend is the remake of True Grit. It's also on Netflix. And it's directed by the Coen brothers, and it stars Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, and a newcomer called Haley Seinfeld, who does an amazing job as the little girl. And it's directed by the Coen brothers, if I didn't say that already. And
Jeff Bridges, I always love. And also, when you say the Coen brothers, there's a new one that's up, Power of the Dog, about the tragedy of Macbeth. Was one of the Coen brothers by himself, and they
one of the Coen brothers. Yeah.
Do you think their movies had a sort of flavor? The two brothers, you think?
Oh, absolutely. The two brothers together are better than the one brother. So, I mean, some of my favorite movies by the Coen brothers are Fargo, and what a tremendous movie! Oh my God! And of course, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, with George Clooney. Yeah, they're great.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Staying in the video store, you were owning them, but you weren't there watching them all day, though, right? Sometimes you were.
No. I usually had music videos on.
I was going to say, or you had a crew.
I had managers in both stores and other employees. I loved owning the video stores. I really did.
Did you jump out before they went to DVDs and then?
Oh yeah, I jumped out just before Blockbuster opened.
I was just going to say, boy, talk about technology taking industries and going. Let's crinkle this up.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. But every time I watch Netflix, it's like it's amazing to me that they can stream movies. You know, so many movies.
Yeah,
and series. Yeah.
And there's some people that still want to get those discs. It's interesting. Why do you want them to send you a disc? Well, because I like to watch it on a DVD so I can pause it. Well, you can pause it online. In fact, you can go away and we'll come back to it, and it'll be exactly where you left it even.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The kids now, I mean, I love when kids say, well, you didn't have cell phones. Well, how did you communicate with each other? We talked to each other. We'd see each other and stuff.
Yeah. Well, we had landlines, you know.
I remember, Shep Gordon may remember this. I was so persistent on trying to reach him here when I first got here. We didn't have answer machines then, or if we did, it was way back there. And it was like, when he called me, he said, man, you are the most persistent guy. That's why I called you back. And I thought, in this day and age, you go to one machine and then you get, hello, it's a machine. And then you got 5 choices. And then from 5, you go to another subset and a subset. And then you get to the machine that says, we don't have any room on this machine. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, right. Right. Even digitally, that there's sometimes I get that message. Even digitally.
And you know, hopefully, fortunately, you haven't too much experience going after the food stamps and the government programs. But I can tell you, you wonder which comes first, the frustration of the people or the thing that they're not getting, that there's, you know, we're living in a world where, you know, you don't know where the problem really is. Like They put a guy into jail. This is funny, not so funny stuff. Imagine they evaluate you for your mental health. You have 95 court cases, and you really are been frustrated, 4 years of homeless. And they say, well, you could be dangerous to society. We're going to hold you for 30 days. While they hold you for 30 days, your vehicles and the things with all your stuff have been totally ransacked, and you don't know it, of course. And you're going to get out of this. And now what you thought was a difficult life, and they're trying to find out if this person is sane, his life is now shredded. What's that? So he tried. Watch this guy try. I've tried, and still trying to help him. You think, well, the people aren't doing the job, and they're going, we have 83 people a day to help. We don't have the time to help. The phones are busy. But that's why we're breathing here. People like you and me talking to other people, making, I think, every guest I'm sure you had was trying to make this a better world. I look up at your people like Joe Sugarman.
Absolutely.
People,
and he used to live on Maui, right on Keavakapu Beach.
I loved what he told me. He said to me, what you do is you ask for forgiveness, not permission. That's how I've made my fortune. And I thought, that's interesting. You know him. I remember all his amazing books about sales and direct marketing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was the first one to accept a credit card on the phone. He was blue blocker sunglasses.
Oh, yeah.
He was the first one to accept credit cards on the phone.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wow. Yeah.
He was a nice guy. I liked him. Years ago, massage. Ariel used to do massage for him and the wife and Longy. There's some great and interesting. There are a lot of amazing people who live on this small island in the middle of the Pacific. Further, these Hawaiian islands are farther from any. They're the most remote islands in the world. I always like to say we're the most remote landmass in the world. When I was first doing my logo for the nonprofit, this guy made a picture of our logo as the island looking from the west coast. We are the most remote landmass in the world. That means if there's an explosion somewhere, unless it's in Tonga, but if it's the world and all that craziness.
I'm very grateful to live here because, a lot of, especially with the pandemic, there's a lot that goes on in the mainland that doesn't necessarily affect us.
Yeah. And just as a reference point for everyone watching, February 22nd, 22222, our mayor is letting us go into dining establishments and not ask for vaccination cards. So we're starting to open up again. And the governor has declared also that, you don't have to wear masks as of, I think, Monday. So the world is beginning to open up and breathe again.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Like you said, we're here. We have them screening and everything before people come here. Imagine on the mainland where people could come from everywhere.
Well, they can drive from one place to another, which makes a big difference because that can make a huge difference because you have to get onto an airplane, so they require you be tested. And
oh yeah, so we have a bunch of screens before people arrive, and we still have people that come, but we are blessed. We are so blessed. And I must also say I enjoyed, I'm sure you, walking on the beaches and going through places with so many less people. It felt like 1990, 2004. There was breathing room. It was extraordinary.
And I go almost every day to Keavakapu Beach, And my new thing, just in the last, say, year or two, is that I swim, and then I walk along the beach listening to audiobooks provided free by the Hawaii library system, because you can get an app called Libby on your phone, and you can borrow audiobooks for free. You have that too?
I do.
Yeah, wonderful.
I just haven't had the beach, but now I was going to walk with you, and we'll talk live sometime and put your book down. But it's a beautiful place to live in Maui, to get to walk out. And Libby's a great system. See, a lot of these things people don't know. I kept thinking maybe we should do a series that shows old people that are still into their flip phones, the magic, and how their whole world could be in a smartphone. They could even put the remote control on their TV in there. Or that, I always just amazed. People buy TVs, and then they pay for TV. But they can take their phone, get what they want on the phone, take a cord, and see it on TV. So if things are in transition, you wonder, how long can cable companies get the unbelievable amount of money? There's old people paying $200 a month because they can get TV and an internet and a couple of premium channels.
Yeah. Yep.
And so when you say Libby, that's something everyone should hear. Libby's
yes, everyone in Hawaii should hear about Libby. That because it's a free app on your phone, and it's totally free.
Here's another question. You'll go, well, Buzz, how does he put his question from the air? I go, whoop, like this. When you return message in your email and you use Thai words, and I thought, you've had a real fascination with Thailand. And
well, I lived there for a year and a half. So when I was 60, okay. So this goes back a couple years.
Not so.
No, but when I first went to Thailand, I went with my previous girlfriend Adele, and then I went back without Adele, and I found a Thai girlfriend, who had a house in Thailand, in a Thai village. And so when I got to 60, and I needed to conserve my income, and as we all know, you can live for much less in Thailand. So I moved to Thailand just after my 60th birthday. I had a big going away party, and Barry Sultanoff said, "You'll be back." And of course, I did come back. So because all the time that I was in Thailand, I really missed Maui. And even with the Thai girlfriend, with the house in the Thai village, I just really missed Maui. And so I came back a year and a half later.
Happy to have you back. We've had, you remember Bob and Risa Whiting, and there have been.
Oh my God, they lived in Thailand as well.
Yeah,
I did an interview with them at their apartment in Thailand. Yeah.
Do you know that I lived in Walo, and I went to the airport with a lady that was a psychic reading on the psychic network to pick up her friends from Woodstock, Bob and Risa, when they came to Maui the first time.
They lived in Woodstock before that?
Yeah, her daughter still. Yeah. And
Wow.
They were amazing people. Well, there's another.
They were amazing people, both dead now, but yes, they were amazing people. I really love them, and I'll tell you an amazing story.
Good.
My grandfather was Leon Berger, was the director of the Jewish theater in Philadelphia. Marie Schwartz was one of the main actors. Okay. Marie Schwartz raised Risa.
Right. And Risa and I had a Schwartz thing going on. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I'm a Schwartz, right. We talked about that. Can you imagine being born to a big actor in the Yiddish theater as a child?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Bob's such an eloquent gentleman.
He was very eloquent, beautiful, well-spoken, very just well-spoken.
I actually have a video of him doing Inherit the Wind in the courtroom here in Maui. And, it's really funny. Know these guys a long time. It's hard for me to even think that I've been here since 1988.
Wow, you've been here since 1988. So 1988, 1998, 2008. So you've been here for
34 years.
34 years. Wow.
And I came as this environmental that, because I ran for politics, right, was labeled radical. Because I like solar panels and thought we should recycle and be self-sustainable and decentralize and stuff. But isn't that funny? It's very fun.
It is, yeah.
So ahead of our time. In fact, on another show, I'll tell maybe the story about Pundi. Everyone sees Pundi. Pundi Yokauchi is a guy who was in construction. His family had a bakery on Vineyard. I don't know if you knew that. Right there in Vineyard. And then he got into real estate and raised a lot of money and was a big real estate guy. And when they were building the cultural center, he told me this story. He went to Peter Baldwin and he said, here's how you're going to get money from your client. Who are you? Pick out your 10 biggest customers. Got it. Okay. And remind them how much good sales do and that you're really looking forward to them giving a 10,000, whatever, donation to this cultural center. That's how they raised the big money. And then I met him. I was a dishwasher, Pundi. Now he's in Stone. We talked about environmental things because I booked the cultural center New Year's Eve and New Year's Day the first year. And we were going to be doing things with all the hotels. And then Pundi got a stroke. And so I lost my champion now in the Rodney Dangerfield of Maui. We had plans 30 years ago. So it's like, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what made me think of that.
I love the Maui Arts and Cultural Center. I haven't been there in a while because of COVID, but
opening up.
It's opening up. Yeah.
Isn't it exciting to think that on a little island we get amazing shows here? People.
Oh my God. Amazing shows.
Right? People come here. I guess they come here for the tourism also, but who would think that this little speck, the most remote landmass in the world, is such a beacon that it attracts people from it?
Oh, yeah.
May we send them home with more than just a suntan. Let's give them some environmental things. They go, wow, I want to do this at home. Turn Philadelphia into Maui.
Yes. Okay, well, I'll we can talk about me interviewing you.
Oh yeah.
And maybe we'll do that in a couple weeks. And huh?
Yeah, I look forward to it. I still am, you said you lived in Thailand. A lot about you that to me is really the foundation. I don't know where, maybe it's your nice Jewish upbringing like me. You're just a decent, level-headed guy who has a beautiful and sensitive wife. She has a name that that doesn't make me think. You say she thinks like an immigrant. Where's she from?
She's from Bolivia. So
Okay.
her name, you know, her given name is Lisbeth Arcienega, and you know, a Maui name is Rade.
I always wonder when I think about people and names. She's such a nice lady, like you say. I still have that New York thing about on time. I mean, it drives people a little crazy because I'm too precise. But
yeah,
she's.
I'm fortunate. She's really the love of my life. It was love at first sight. We met at a kirtan many years ago, and I took one look at her and I was in love. And you know, Dreaming Bear, another person I've interviewed. I don't know if you've interviewed him.
He's been on my show too. Yeah, that's okay. All we have different.
So Dreaming Bear was at this kirtan. It was a what's that? Prem Baba kirtan in very close to Ram Dass's house, and so it was a beautiful living room, and Rade came in and she sat down right next to me, and it was love at first sight. And I haven't experienced that since I was 5 years old in kindergarten. I was in love with this little blonde girl, and so it was love at first sight. And what I can say is that Rade caught up to me, you know, in a couple weeks. You know, she loved me in a couple weeks, but it was love at first sight for me. But one thing that I really attribute to the miracle of this relationship was that I wasn't attached to whether she loved me or not. And if things didn't work out, I just felt very unattached. It was like, okay, if things work out, they work out. If they don't work out, they won't work out. And I feel like it was with that's how we fell in love with each other.
I love those. That's you know, it's the other thing about it. If a butterfly, if it's meant to be there, it'll come back. Right?
Yes, that's right.
It's a beautiful thing. You talk about Ram Dass. How many people say, "Oh, Ram Dass lives down the street this way. Prem Baba's over there. We got a little Ananda Das, a few great poets here, W.S. Merton, and the environmental people. And what a place, this Maui.
Dreaming Bear's a good poet too.
Oh yeah. Well, you know he's on the Big Island now.
I didn't know that.
He has a piece of land on the Big Island, and it's like 25 acres, and he's developing his own thing. There has been. Yeah, we have amazing people.
We have amazing people.
And you're one
little island in the middle of the Pacific.
Well, you know, you carry that good energy, Steve.
Thank you.
I mean, what made me think I want to have Steve Freid on my show is because I figure people are going to find my shows, and when they do, they're going to look through the guests. And who do I think is an important part of my world? Steve Freid.
And I want to do a plug for my website. It's lifeonmaui.com, lifeonmaui.com, and you can find all of my interviews on lifeonmaui.com.
And at your place, we're going to put lifeonmaui.com with you, or however you want, on our Maui Arts and Music website. Because I believe The cultural center is mauiarts.org. It is not by mistake that I'm mauiartsandmusic.org. Pundy, and like I said, Pundy and I talked about it. Then he got sick and I lost my champion. But by design, we're a little late, but never too late, because it seems like now might just be just in time to do the things that I'm just excited. And when you mention things, you can hear it. It triggers me that we've got it all here, and we can be an example to the world, and you're part of it.
We absolutely, thank you. Yeah, we can be a part of it.
When you look at the interviews that I've done, just like I look at the interviews you've done, we're delivering, I think, positive messages. And we've been doing it before it was fashionable, but right now, with all that's going in the world, our positivity, I want you on that team, because that's what you are. You're a stable, like this is me, of course, stable gentleman who listens and thinks and gives people space to be. And you're a great host for that reason. And you ask, questions that let people be comfortable enough to tell a story that they wouldn't otherwise be telling.
Thank you.
What would you like? What do you think about the future? Anything you want to do that you want our audience to know?
No, I'm just enjoying my lifestyle. I'm a night owl. I stay up late at night. I get up late in the morning, and I love my rhythm. I love my rhythm. I make an enormous smoothie in the morning. I'll tell you the ingredients. Carrot juice, green juice, protein powder, kale, pineapple, banana, blueberries, and strawberries. And that all goes into an enormous smoothie. I have a big thing. And I drink that while I'm eating breakfast. And I also make mate every day, but Sunday. And Rade comes over. It's the one day a week that she takes off the whole day. And so that's the one day that I have eggs with kale and onion, and bagels, nice Jewish boy bagels. And that's the one day a week I drink coffee. And I love my life. I go to the beach almost every day. And I love my life. And
so you made a bucket list, and in the bucket is Maui, and you are in the bucket.
I'm in the bucket.
Yeah, people have bucket lists, but we live in Maui. It kind of makes the bucket list a little funny, isn't it?
Absolutely. Okay, so
you've been a great guest. Thanks for just being here and be casual. And that's really what I wanted to show. I wanted to introduce them to you. Now they can go to those interviews and be comfortable that they've got a friend going in,
Yes. Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And thank all you guys for joining us. We will see you again.
Okay. Aloha.